In today's video, I will be talking about the best builds in Type Soul. Make sure to subscribe since only about 20% of the people watching this video right now are actually subscribed. And also, I am live on Twitch right now as of this video coming out, so check me out on there. And now let's get into it. First of all, I wanted to show you guys my build and how it works. I think my build is honestly pretty outdated and kind of mid right now. However, the build is 15 Hakuda, 50 Speed, Stark Res with the X and C moves, which are Cero Corazon, and the Buster Dog. I use Cero Grab, and this is what my hotbar looks like. I do have 2 skill boxes used, and I got Ghost Cleave and Strata Strike, but I don't use them because they're just boring moves. And for those of you wondering, my mouse is the Razer Naga Chroma, which has 12 buttons for my entire hotbar on the side of it, so I do not actually use macros or keybinds. My main openers in Ranked or 1v1 are Stark Wolf and Sonido Break. Sonido Break is a crazy underrated Arrancar speed move that acts like a faster blooming cut against anyone using a high speed traversal technique. That means Shadow Step. When I open with the Stark Buster, I either follow it up with Blooming Cut or Cero Osiris, and my main combo starters are Rising Kick or the Grimjow Claw Crit, and my main combo is Rising Fang, Grand Opening, Cero Grab into Cero Corazon. If Cero Grab is on cooldown, I usually use Waterfall Dance or Dropping Fang instead, and I usually use Spectre Step for either countering certain moves in Hakuda users, or I can feint the second hit into a mix-up, which is also good for landing crits into a combo. The reason why I like this build is because it's basically just speed, but you can actually combo. Normally, speed can't really combo because none of the moves really follow up into each other, but with the additional Hakuda moves and Cero Grab, it allows speed to actually combo instead of being forced to play bait, hit, and run, but I still can if I actually really want to. Now let's go over what I think the best builds in the game are. For reference, I am currently Upper Master and Ranked with my build, and I have literally never lost to anyone using Kido, with the closest I've ever come has been me being one-shot, and I still won, so I have never lost to a Kido user. Anyways, let's get into it. These builds aren't really ranked in any particular order, but first up is going to be Quincy Hakuda. As a whole, this build is great for ranked 1v1s, and I would consider it potentially one of the best ranked builds in the game as of now. The Warden weapon allows you to easily pull people in for free combos because it ragdolls people and forces them to eat your combo starter moves. Spine Rend also allows you to counter Hyper Armor since it both breaks Hyper Armor and ironically has Hyper Armor at the same time. The combos are also generally hard to read, so if you just bait out people who are spamming F, then you can basically eat half or more of someone's health bar in a single combo by using Hakuda. The biggest problem is that this build struggles with boss rating because it lacks mobility and speed. It really only is good for ranked in 1v1s because outside of that you're gonna get overwhelmed by the 6 people on you because you decided to punch someone who is standing in the open. The next build is going to be full speed. This works for any faction, but I think Speed Arrancar is the best because of specifically Sonido Break, which is a super underrated combo starter and chaser move that lets you get a free hit on anyone using a Shadow Step. I might like this move a lot more than the average person, and that's probably because my build actually has combos, so I benefit more on Sonido Break than a full speed user, but I do think full speed is still good, and I do think Sonido Step is still good regardless because it's a free hit. Also, unlike my build, full speed has Time Cut, which is one of the best moves in the game and honestly needs a bit of a nerf because the AoE is massive, it does a ton of damage, and it's really easy to use, and it has like no windup or end lag. I think full speed is the easiest build in the entire game because it mainly revolves around hit and run while baiting out end lag and stuns from the enemy, which is pretty much how you're supposed to play with speed. I know people complain a lot about speed users running, but realistically the kit was made for kiting when there's not a single move that actually true combos into any other, like with some other things like Kendo and Hakuda. Speed doesn't have true combos and it lacks moves that stun. Speed is literally just made to punish and bait people, so stop complaining about speed users running. If the speed user approaches you, they're going to lose. You're just playing to your strengths. Anyway, Speed's biggest weakness is the Ryatsu Drain, so ideally try and land your M1s when possible to get your soul style meter up, and don't just spam moves when you're not guaranteed to hit them. Most Speed players forget to M1 and lose because they forgot they need Ryatsu, and people won't just die before your Ryatsu bar is empty most of the time unless you're hitting literally every single move in its entirety, which is kinda hard because most of them are multi-hit moves. Speed is good for everything generally. It's good in 1v1s except for the fact that it doesn't really have combos, but even then it doesn't really matter because you can just kite and play hit and run. And it's good for boss rating in the overworld because there are more options in a fight, and dodging hits and snaking people is easier with speed than anything else, and that's just because it has better shadow steps. Kendo is also up there, especially Kendo Speed, but that might just be because Flower Passage is a decent option for running, but we'll talk about Kendo later. And even though Flower Passage can be used for running, I still wouldn't really recommend it because it has end lag at the end if you miss, so you're probably gonna get caught up anyway. Next up is Kido. Honestly, I know it's good because the main draw of Kido is the fact that you can move stack like 8 moves at once, and a ton of Kido users love to run macros that will move stack their entire kit on one person. But I have played like 600 games of ranked, and I haven't lost to a single Kido user, and the only Quincy's have ever actually even made it close, and that was before Quincy Kido got nerfed. But Quincy Kido is still undeniably good, and apparently so is Arrancar with Kido for the move stacks if you learn how to do them. I know Quincy Kido is good because there's a lot of moves that pretty much just cover all of your opponent's options in a fight, and there's a lot of free combo escapes with Quincy. I don't know what it's called, but there's that one move that kind of like sends you into the sky and then you shoot your arrows down. That move is really good for escaping combos and also just hitting people and punishing. And I know Sankt Bogan is still really good, and even the nerfs were not really that relevant, so it's not really worth blue pilling off Kido Quincy. I personally don't have a lot of experience with Kido. I have used Kido Arrancar, but I didn't really like it that much. I do think it's alright, but as a whole, I think Kido is just kind of alright, you know? I've never lost to a Kido user, so I can't really say much, but I'm pretty sure it's good because I hear a lot of players who are apparently self-proclaimed better than me complaining about Kido. Next up is Kendo Speed. This build is ideally ran with Soul Reaper and Theater Shikai because Kendo is really the only viable Soul Reaper path right now, but they should be getting some buffs soon, so don't worry about that, guys. Especially Hakuda, so yeah. The stat build being 45 Kendo 20 speed for the best flash step possible while still getting flower petals. A lot of people think Kendo got gutted after the recent nerfs, especially to Flower Passage, but no, it didn't. Flower Passage into Theater Cagione still works most of the time, or at least once per fight, because most players still dodge Flower Passage. And if you're worried people will just block the first hit of Flower Passage, well, it doesn't make it any less punishing, especially for you Theater users. If they block the first hit, they either have to dodge out or get guard broken by the second hit, which means the best possible outcome against Flower Passage is eating the damage of the first hit and proceeding to parry the next hit and trying to get a punish off of that. But even then, the move is still basically free damage, and if they don't dodge for your free Cagione hit, you just get to pressure them harder with your next hit. So you either force them to dodge and you can Cagione like usual, or you force them to take at least one hit and you get free damage. And yeah, Pressure Shift did get a large nerf, but let's be real. It's a counter that does like a third of a bar in damage, and it's still really good. Kendo's main weakness is its reliance on skill boxes. The two best moves in my opinion, which are Eviscerate and Sonata Flow, are both skill box moves. But even then, with how easy it is to get skill boxes now, it really shouldn't be a huge problem for anyone to get these moves. The main problem Kendo users have is the fact that they're all terrible. I don't mean to be mean, but Kendo is meant to be aggressive, and you guys are playing like speed players. You're trying to bait out hits when that's not what you're supposed to be doing with Kendo. And the added speed for the 45-20 speed build with Kendo makes it even easier. So you should be approaching and trying to start fights rather than waiting for your opponent to make mistakes, because as a Kendo user you really only have one move to escape combos, maybe two, but if you have two counters they're on a global cooldown anyway. But staying out of the position to get put into a combo by pressuring your opponents hard is ideal for you. You cannot play passively as a Kendo Speed user, or even as a full Kendo user, which is like the entire point of its kit, with like Mortal Ties as a skill. You are meant to put pressure on the person you're fighting, and don't give them openings to combo you. That is how you win with Kendo. A lot of people are complaining that Kendo's bad now, but no, you were just never good with Kendo, and you were getting carried by the fact that it was really, really overpowered before. You're not playing Kendo right. Stop playing passively and start playing more aggressively. You need to learn how to play Kendo instead of complaining about how it was nerfed and how it's been gutted, because let's be real, it wasn't gutted, it's still good, you just never knew how to play it, and you played like you were a speed player. So either switch to speed or learn to use Kendo, because Kendo is still really, really good. And finally, you can pretty much combo any build with 20 healing in order to get high speed regeneration for a support build, but my top pick would definitely be 20 healing and 45 speed, or if you don't really care about speed that much and you're going to be playing Kendo properly, you could go 20 healing and 45 Kendo. This is overall probably one of the best builds for survivability, especially in ranked, because even though high speed regeneration and healing did get nerfed in the fact that it now has the speed of your regeneration scale up based on the time you spend healing, it is still really good. Like, having the extra survivability is good, especially since it stacks with like visored healing variant buffs, so you're just going to be healing even faster. Healing is just a really good like extra point support tree that you can put points into for things like high speed regeneration, and even if you're just doing ganks with your friends, it's useful to have those extra 20 points, because then you can actually just help the people around you and give your entire squad extra survivability. Healing is good, speed is good, Kendo is good, and I really wouldn't recommend full healing for those of you wondering. Bloody Canvas just got nerfed, and that's like the only move that it actually has. Really think about it. I don't think Bloody Canvas needed a nerf. I know healing is supposed to be like very support based, but I think giving healing some more like potential to fight would be good, because if you're in a 1v1 scenario with a healer build, you're done. You can't even really hit someone because you've got like 2 moves, and it's just not good. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you disagree, leave a comment. If it's too long, I'm not gonna read it. I keep getting like long paragraph comments from people, and then I say I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna read that, and they're like, oh yeah, because you're wrong and you don't want to read it and prove that you're wrong. But it's like, bro, this video is going to get like 1,000 comments. You're not special. I'm not reading your 6-paragraph rant about why Kido is good and why I have a skill issue because I'm beating Kido users in 1v1s, okay? I don't need to hear all that. Also, I would like to just talk about my last 3 Type Soul videos. People are like, oh, you're complaining about the game, but I have never once said anything bad about Type Soul, which you guys would know if you watch the videos. I have never once said a single negative thing about Type Soul in my last 3 videos. The titles, the thumbnails, yeah, whatever. But the videos are literally just balancing discussions. Watch the videos before leaving your comments. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you all. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord. I love you all. Have a great day, and goodbye.